Welcome back to another episode of ROC Boys Football. We're continuing with our 2022 season previews as we take a look at the Texas Longhorns. This has got to be one of the most exciting teams to watch in the 2022 season, but it's a team that just has consistently underperformed. Before we get into it, just wanted to say thank you guys for all the support you guys have shown the channel. We appreciate it. We love talking ball with you guys in the comment section. If you guys do like the content, consider subscribing to the channel. It means a lot to the fellas. We love doing this for you guys. Dill, I'm going to kick it off to you. What are your initial reactions about Texas coming into 2022 here?
I mean, I think if you're a Texas fan, you got to be excited about the Sarkisian hiring in general and just where he's taking the program. It's already off to a good start recruiting. It seems like the energy's back. And really, I think what you're excited about is he's a guy who really good at Washington, struggled at USC, learned how to kind of be at a program of the USC Texas magnitude, which there's probably 5 of those programs in the world. And he learned from Saban how to do it, how to manage those ultra expectations and everything that comes around with being at a school like a Texas. So I think you got to hope he's ready to rock and roll. And it's just a good hire because there's not many guys who can manage a Texas football program. And Tom Herman, you could probably say wasn't ready, never was a head coach anywhere besides Houston for like 2 days and just wasn't ready to go at it. It's just so different. I mean, Texas is big. You got to deal with the donors. You got to deal with the administration. You got to deal with the expectations and the fans and all of it.
Especially with a team that just has seemingly had a little bit of a culture issue. Even looking at last year, this team kind of quit a little bit after that loss to Oklahoma, which, yes, was a brutal loss. They go on to win, 6 straight losses, the most in Texas since 1959. The team kind of quit. The motors were low. The effort was low. And I think Texas fans would agree with that. Now, the talent on the offensive side of the ball this year is maybe only Ohio State and USC would have an argument that they're more talented. But I don't even know if they're more talented.
I don't think USC does.
Because the raw talent that not only is at the quarterback spot, but at the wide receivers and running backs is just disgusting. And let's start off with the quarterback position. It apparently is a QB battle between Quinn Ewers and Hudson Card. You're shaking
can't be a battle. It can't be a battle. It has to be Ewers. He didn't come there to sit the bench again. And Hudson Card, let's be honest, didn't kill it last year. So I think you want to see Ewers if you're a Texas fan, Texas guy. That's what I'd want.
My take on Quinn Ewers in the Hudson Card competition is Hudson Card will get you 8-4, maybe 7-5, 8-4, maybe 9-3. You'll be a solid team. You'll probably make a bowl game, which Texas obviously wants to do. Quinn Ewers can unlock potential that this Texas offense and Texas team has that quite simply Hudson Card doesn't offer. I mean, if Quinn Ewers comes in and plays to the level he is capable of playing at, this seems like an 11-1, 10-2. I don't even know if there's any team
that offense. It's national championship offense, that's for sure.
And that's kind of what my take is. Texas fans, your coach Sark, you don't expect 6-6. You're not going into seasons hoping for 7-5, 6-6. You're going into seasons wanting to win the Big 12 and wanting to go on and win a national championship. That is what Texas is, and that is what Quinn Ewers brings to this team. So let's talk a little bit about some of the other guys surrounding Quinn Ewers. And it starts at the running back position. They, in my mind, have the best running back room in the country. You got Bijan Robinson, who's probably the best running back in the country. And then Roschon Johnson is probably a top 10 running back. If you're a Texas fan,
that's the thing. You can't not get him the ball. You need to get Roschon Johnson the ball. Even in Bijan's incredible, and you want to run him 20, 30 times a game probably, just with the size and the power he's got. But you need to find some ways to get the ball in both these guys' hands.
Yeah, and Coach Sark, who is a hell of a lot smarter than us when it comes to pretty much everything, definitely offense. He's going to figure out a way to get these guys the ball. But yes, Bijan Robinson needs to be touching the ball 20 to 30 times. But Roschon Johnson also needs to be worked in. And you also have a guy, Keelan Robinson, who averaged 7.2 yards a carry Very excited to see some two running back sets. Maybe put Bijan Robinson in the slot because he's a great route runner.
You can put them both in the slot. They're both that's the nice thing about these guys is they both catch the football at a high level.
And Roschon Johnson can throw too. He was a quarterback coming out of high school. It's an embarrassment of riches at the running back room. And then you look at the wide receiver room, and it's another embarrassment. The pass catcher unit as a whole is absolutely loaded. Obviously headlined by the breakout freshman Xavier Worthy, who, as a Michigan fan, it just hurts me to even talk about Xavier Worthy. What he did as a true freshman last year was special. Just legit burner speed, just runs around people, runs right by people. But then you go onto the transfer portal and get somebody who I think that Texas team was missing in Isaiah Neyor, who's a guy who can go vertically, who can create some separation, but more importantly, he's really, really good in contested catches. And when those windows get smaller, Isaiah Neyor, he's kind of that guy. And then Jordan Whittington. Dill, I know you have a lot of thoughts on Jordan Whittington. I think he's a tough-as-nails guy who is fixing for a breakout season here.
That's like big body wide out who's really athletic and obviously came in with a lot of hype as the recruit that he was. And you're just kind of waiting for him to break out. I think you could argue that there hasn't been enough stability at the quarterback position
and injuries
for the past few years, and of course injuries. So he's just a guy you want to see play really good football. You've seen the flashes for sure. I mean, he's got to catch the ball more consistently when he's on the field and do all that. But to have that guy be your third, possibly wideout is insane because he's really good.
And he's a guy that Coach Sark said through our first 4 games he was our best wide receiver last year, which is high praise when you're lining up next to Xavier Worthy. This guy's a lot of potential. Then you have guys waiting in the ring. J.E. Hall is a guy who's very talented coming out of high school. Needs to just put it together on and off the field, I'd say. And then you look at the tight end room. Jaleel Billingsley, interested to see what they do with him. He's an undersized guy. They dropped
Sark's guy.
He's a Sark guy. That's a very good point because when you saw him with Coach Sark at Alabama, that was the best form of Jaleel Billingsley we saw. Now they're dropping his weight. He's listed at 215 now, which is not really a tight end weight. More of that jumbo slot kind of guy. Then you got your true tight end in Jatavian Sanders, who is a physical freak. He was awesome coming out of high school. This pass catcher unit in the offense as a whole, talent-wise, is awesome. The big question mark is looking at the offensive line, where you might see 2 true freshmen get some playing time in Devin Campbell and Kevin Banks, 2 guys who are very highly recruited out of high school in the 2022 class. Neither of them enrolled early. There's some question marks at this offensive line, but I think it can be solid enough where Quinn Ewers can get the ball to the playmakers and really unlock this offense.
Yeah, and you've got a couple of good pieces with Junior Angelou and Christian Jones, who have both played pretty good football for the past. But I think you're probably right. You want to see some young guys come in and push these offensive linemen and make everyone better. Just add some competition, which, again, when you think of Texas culture, you wonder if that's been lacking a little bit in the past where there's a little bit of entitlement or some issues because you've just maybe not seen everyone play to their potential in the past. So, yeah, you're bringing in some real horses up front. And if they can play good, go play them. And I think that's how Sark's going to do it. That's how Bama did it. So, I don't know.
You're the best player you play. Doesn't matter your age. And I agree. I think I really agree with you. The entitlement of some of these players. And now, especially on the defensive side of the ball, let's start talking a little defense. A lot of the narrative is that Texas is going to need to outscore its opponents, which I think they can do. If you're getting in a shootout with Texas, it's going to be hard to beat Texas in a shootout this year if that offense plays to its potential. But the defense, what's concerning is the rush defense was absolutely brutal. In a year in 2021 where the quarterback play and the offensive play in the Big 12 was not very good. I mean, they were 114th in rushing yards giving up over 200 yards on the ground. When you have such a good offense, you got to be able to stop the run and get off the field. Let's take a look at this front 7 first. And Dill, I'll start. I think it's vital for these defensive linemen to play tough. You got guys who I think can do it. Keandre Coburn, Tavondre Sweat, 2 NFL-capable guys who are just monsters in the middle of the defense, can take on blocks, 2-gap, take on double teams. And if those guys can play really, really well, it kind of unlocks those backers who we feel really, really good about. Dill, I know you're a fan of DeMarvion Overshown. What's so important about him to this defense, maybe?
I mean, he's that new breed linebacker, and that's the thing. Which you lose maybe is a guy who's going to be a take-on block guy. Like, that's not really Demarion Overshown. So that's probably why it's so important that
Yeah.
these guys up front play better football and keep their linebackers clean. Because when Overshown's allowed to fly around on the field and make plays, he's excellent. When he has to play more of that take-on inside run box linebacker, that's not what he's going to do. It's not what he's – it's just not how he's built. But when you let him fly around, he's going to be really good. So I think you're probably right. And they just need to take care of it up front a little more and let the talented linebackers run.
And they have the personnel to do that. And then on the edge, I'm optimistic about some of the talent, and that's the story of Texas program the last couple of years is they're talented, they're just not putting it together. Guy that I love and who was not really recruited out of high school at a high level, Barron Sorrell, looks to be a stud on the edge. Played really well in the spring game. He's only coming into his second year. Was outside of the top 600 nationally as a high school recruit. I think he can make some noise. And then, Dale, you noticed Justin Finkley, who I know you love coming out of high school. Tell us a little bit about him.
Justin, I mean, if you look at him when they post the Instagrams at the school, it's just a giant guy. Yeah. Looked like a full-grown man. Looked like a 30-year-old almost, or just like a guy you kind of feel like
ready to
in
play.
The mold of what these DNs have come in. Like these freshman DNs typically come in and play really good football when they're really highly recruited. I think just when you're that athletic, like a Finkley, or I mean, like think about how Kayvon came in, or Kayvon Thibodeau, I should specify, or Will Anderson at Bama. Like those highly recruited guys come in and just they're just athletic right now. So you got to hope Justice Finkley can push some guys, maybe even get some good amount of playing time and put some numbers up because he's probably the most talented defensive lineman on the team.
It's the same story that we talked about on the offense. You get some of these young buck guys who are coming in, and they're going to start pushing these veterans who, might have been a little entitled last year and weren't necessarily playing up to Texas standard and their potential, their own talent standard. Another guy I want to mention, Jalen Ford, did only start 2 games last year, third in the team in tackles. I think he's going to be a really good linebacker to pair up with Demarion Overshown. And again, if this that front group can take care of what they got to take care of and let those linebackers play fast and play clean, I think that front seven is going to be really good. Looking at the secondary, they got some guys that I really like. Deshaun Jameson, love him. I think he's just a ball-hawking guy. Ryan Watts coming in from Ohio State. He's a long, physical cornerback that I think is going to put it together. Anthony Cook, a guy I like a lot. And then Maurice Blackwell, converted linebacker. Now he's playing safety. He's a hammer. He's an absolute hammer. And then Terrence Brooks, the true freshman. They got the talent, and hopefully you can get, again, those young guys pushing some of those veterans.
If Texas just tackles generically better, they'll improve by miles because that's frankly a fair amount of the issue. Is just I don't know the stats to say, but if you just watch Texas, you typically think why aren't they tackling people?
Really bad.
How do you miss this many? And if they just step that up and just, which feels like a fixable issue, I mean, imagine how much better the defense will be. And because you're right, they're in position to make plays. It's just not.
Yeah, it's not like they're just too slow to get to the edge. They're just not tackling. I remember on Twitter, I saw a freeze frame of 7 guys around CeeDee Lamb in the middle of the field. And then then there's another freeze frame of CeeDee Lamb running for a touchdown. And it's just there's no excuse for 8 guys missing a tackle on one play. Now, looking at their schedule, Vegas doesn't love Texas, which I'm very surprised about. They only have them at 8 wins as the over-under. And again, if this team can play up to its potential, it's certainly winning 8 games. They get a layup with ULM. If Quinn Ewers is starting his first collegiate start, that should be a layup game where he can get some confidence because the next game Alabama's rolling into town, and that is the best defense in the country probably this year. And Quinn Ewers is going to need to be at least somewhat comfortable heading into Alabama. And Dill, even if they don't beat Alabama, I think the rest of the schedule, I think they can run it. UTSA, on the road at Texas Tech. Then you get into kind of a rough schedule here. West Virginia with JT Daniels. Then you play the Red River rivalry. Oklahoma's had your number. Dill, if there's a year to beat Oklahoma, it's got to be this year, eh?
Well, that's what you'd think. I mean, just what they're turning over so much. It's just it's hard to think Oklahoma is going to be the Oklahoma of old right now.
Well, they're not going to look like the Oklahoma of old because they're going to play a lot more ground and pound with Brent Venables. And this isn't even me saying I don't believe in Brent Venables. I think the turnover, it might be a little bit of an adjustment period because they have so many new guys in that program. Iowa State, and then on the road to Stillwater before your week off. Spencer Sanders, if he can put it together, that Oklahoma State team might be decent. But again, losing the defensive coordinator, losing a lot of contributors on the defensive side of the ball, I think Texas can take care of it. Kansas State, TCU, Kansas. Make sure you beat Kansas. And then Baylor. Dill, I think that last game, Friday, November 25th against Baylor, I think Texas is playing for a spot in the Big 12 championship game.
Certainly could be. I mean, I will say that's not a very easy schedule because I think the Big 12 is like pretty tough this year. I mean, Oklahoma State, I kind of think is still pretty good. I like Baylor.
Sanders guy.
I don't know. I feel like you're sleeping on the whole conference, frankly, when you say this is like a cakewalk schedule. Because I don't know. I think the Big 12 is pretty good. So, and you're right. At the end of the day, if Texas plays to what they should be, like they should be the favorite in most of these games. So, I do think 8 wins seems like a low bar, and I certainly think Texas fans expect much better than 8 wins. So, yeah, I don't know, but not an easy schedule in my opinion.
It's not the Big 12. It's not definitely not a cakewalk, but again, Texas has a potential. If you play Quinn Ewers and that potential that offense has, there's not many teams that can go in and beat Texas in a shootout. That'll do it for our 2022 season preview on Texas. Before we get out of here, guys, because of all the support you guys have shown, we do have a presenting sponsor, and we appreciate all the support you guys have shown. Support for ROC Boys Football is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. That is 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code ROCKBOYS at manscaped.com. My math is correct. That's 8 million balls. Guys, it used to be a war zone down there for me. I know you're sweating in Texas. Make sure you're taking care of your stuff down there with the right tools. That is Manscaped. Again, get 20% off at Manscaped with the free shipping with promo code ROCKBOYS. That is 20% off and free shipping with promo code ROCKBOYS. We appreciate all the support you guys shown. Thank you for checking us out, and we'll be back with some more content later. Peace.